What's good, y'all? I know it's been a minute. Now I wanted to give y'all like a little update on my leg. So I've had my first complication out of all my surgeries. It was pretty scary and it was a lot. And I had to get another like surgery, but it wasn't that bad, but it was still the fact that I had a complication for the first time and it was a lot happening. So this was last month. I remember because I had one on the cruise last month as well, and I tried to cancel the cruise because of the surgery, but the cruise line was like, you got to pay $1,500 to cancel, and I was like, no. So I ended up going on the cruise, even though I had my surgery after my complication, but everything was fine. You know, I had a cane, but I was still cool. Like I was still walking around without it, and I just had to take my time and keep my leg wrapped up. So what happened was, um, I I had started doing Instacart and DoorDash, you know, to get some more money since I was out of work for a minute. So on this particular day, I Instacarted for the first time, and I was moving around doing like on this time I was doing really good. Like I wasn't feeling like a lot of pain. I think my feeling was coming back in my leg, and I didn't have no pain in the other area. I was moving a lot faster since I've had the surgery and going up and down the steps, you know, taking the dogs out, all that other good stuff. So I think what had happened was I was moving too much. Like I overdid it. So the next day, I wake up and I just had the chills. I was really, really cold and I couldn't warm up. And I go and touch my leg, and my leg was huge. It was like that big. No lie. I'm gonna drop some pictures in so y'all can see, but it was like that big. So I touch my leg and I'm like, what the fuck? So I get up because I was also going to a basketball game too, and I try to get up out the bed and it hurt so bad, like I could barely walk. I was crying and everything because it just hurt so bad. So after a couple of days of trying to see what I could do to like see if the swelling would go down, I tried to take some ibuprofen, Tylenol, and even try to wrap my leg up to see if that would help. But over time, nothing really helped. So I reached out to the Crane Center and was just like, I emailed them and I was like, you know, my leg is swollen. What do y'all suggest that I do? So they were like, I had sent in pictures as well, and they were like, well, it looks like fluid had developed under my flap, and over time, the fluid will reabsorb back into the body, and they can't really give you a timetable because it all depends, and it just takes time. And they said something that could probably help is keeping it wrapped up and maybe taking ibuprofen or Tylenol to help with the pain or the inflammation because nothing can help with the swelling. So I was like, okay, cool. So again, a couple of days passed. So, and then they also told me to reach back out if I notice any signs of infection, like change of color in the discharge, odor. The skin was really tender, hot to the touch. So a couple of days passed, and I noticed that on my wrap, because I wrapped it with the ace bandage, it had yellow discharge on it. So I was like, what the heck? And my my thigh was also in the area. It was I'll show you a picture. In the area, it was also red and it was hot to the touch. So I'm like, oh shoot. So I sent them an email again and said, you know, my leg is hot to the touch. It's also red and I'm noticing this yellow discharge. So this was also at night, so I couldn't like, you know, call or anything to see if you know what they suggested I do. So the next morning, literally the next morning, I had got up to use the bathroom. I was chilling, you know, using the bathroom. Then I noticed my leg starts to leak, and I mean leaking. So I was like, what the heck? So I immediately called the Crane Center, and luckily this was like 9 or 10 o'clock their time. I think it was 9. Like, I think they just opened. And I was just like, my leg is leaking. Like, what do y'all suggest that I do? And they were like, well, it looks like somebody's about to email you now. Because I also told them I had emailed someone, or I emailed them. And they were like, it looks like somebody's getting back to you right now. So, I'll just wait on that. And as far as the leaking, just like use some gauze or something to like, like catch it. So I was like, okay. So I waited on the email, and it said to basically go to the ER. So that's what I did. I went to the ER, and when I got there, it was kind of hard to walk too, because my leg is also leaking. So I get in there, and they thought the PA that I had, she thought that it was a infection. And the things that were scaring me was when she started throwing out words like sepsis and infection, and I was just like, am I gonna lose my flap? Am I gonna lose my leg? Am I gonna die? So it was just, that part was like really scary. So she ordered some tests to make sure everything was good. Did blood tests to make sure my white blood count was okay. They did the vascular test. They did a CT scan. They also did something else. I can't remember. But from what I remember so far, that was like the main things. And everything was clear. They said I didn't have, it wasn't infected. They also said that I didn't have any signs of blood clots, and also my blood count was good. So the biggest thing was trying to figure out what to do. So during this time too, the Crane Center is calling me. I spoke with Lauren. She was trying to figure out what we could do, and mainly figuring out the hospital I was at, so she can get in contact with them, so she can contact them with Dr. DeLeon, so they can figure out something that they can do to help figure out what the hell is going on and how to fix the problem, essentially. So I really love them. They were with me every step of the way. They tried to make sure everything was right. Even with the ED here, they were trying to make sure they found the right surgeon, make sure they were trying to get like information, because literally everyone in there didn't know what phalloplasty was. They weren't familiar with the surgery. So I thought that was interesting. I mean, I get it, like, not if you don't really study it, you wouldn't really know. But now they do. But either way, I'm just really happy, like, the communication on both sides. Everybody was doing what they were supposed to, and they were trying to figure out something. So I really, really appreciate that. Nobody was just like trying to like, push you off to someone else and then not getting to you in time, because like, what if something would have happened if that happened? So I'm just really grateful that I had a good team on both ends. So anyway, so they ended up finding someone, because at first they were saying that I have to go to another facility in another city, and I was going to have to get transported in an ambulance. But I was really happy they found somebody in-house to come check it out. So they got in touch with Dr. DeLeon, and basically I had this procedure. It was just like a drain, what they call it, incision and drain, because she instructed them on to just where it was leaking from to open it up just a little bit, so they can also insert a drain in, clean it out, and insert this Penrose drain. So it wasn't the drain that we usually have when we have top surgery, or the drains that I had with my flap. Excuse me. So it's something called a Penrose drain. It looks like a piece of latex. To me, it looks like a piece of balloon, so you have an idea. It didn't hurt. They said I could shower with it, so that was good. And I felt a lot better, because when I was in the hospital, I was in there for like 2 or 3 days. So the first day, like once I got there, it was draining a lot, and my leg was like, it went from this to like almost back to its normal size. So I was like, dang, that was a lot of fluid. So yeah. And even with the staff, like everybody in there was really chill and cool. They said the procedure was only like maybe 30 minutes. And the thing that scared me with that was they said that It took me a minute to wake up on my, or not wake up, but start breathing on my own. So I was like, huh? So, yeah. So that was my story time for my first complication. I just wanted to shed light on it because it was like something that you probably would have never thought of because I didn't. And I was like, I'm like, at this point, I'm like 2 months post-op. So even doctors at the Crane Center, they were saying like, this is like a freak thing to happen because usually with seromas, which is basically what I had a seroma, they say that those usually happen the first weeks after surgery. So for me to have it 2 months down the line, that was crazy. So I'm thinking I did overdo it and I know next time to not. But so if you're noticing something different with your body when you have these type of surgeries, make sure you reach out to your team, your doctors, and figure out what they would like for you to do. Because if I would have just ignored it and tried to see like if I can figure it out myself, because I don't want to go to the doctor, nobody really likes doctors, it could have cost my life, so I'm just really grateful that I did listen to my body and was just like, yeah, let me go out. Or let me contact my team so I can see what they suggest that I do so I don't have any more problems. So right now, everything's good. I'm back to work. I've been working for a minute now. So now my leg, it's still trying to close, like the incision that they made. It's still closing, but it is almost closed so I can start my electrolysis soon. But now it's like I think what they call it was like a capsule that Dr. DeLeon wanted them to leave in there because it is like when they did the CT scan, it does show like a mass. So she wanted them to leave that in there. So when I show y'all my thigh, it's gonna look like I have the scar line, and then it's gonna look like it's gonna look like that on one part of the leg or close to the knee. And it's gonna look pretty big, but that's just the capsule and nothing's wrong. So yeah, but yeah, so that's really my update. Also too, I pushed my date back, so instead of it being in August, I'm moving it to March next year. I just wanted to make sure I had everything in order, and just also because like that experience was really scary, but the main thing was making sure I had everything in order, like money, making sure my hair removal was good and set. So yeah, but if y'all have any questions, feel free to hit me up. And thank y'all for the 100 subscribers. I never would have thought, but I really appreciate y'all for tuning in. And y'all are always welcome to ask me any questions that y'all may have regarding surgery or just period. And I really hope y'all have a great weekend and y'all stay safe.